Can I even remember my own name? Okay. Test, test, test. Whoa, no, that's not what I wanted. Copy and paste. That's window swap out. Swap I can't even remember. Change, move tab, 11 to 2, and move 11 to... No, that's good. That's good. Okay, we can live with that. Now for cheese. Now that is a dirty lie. That should have never succeeded. Which means we have a bug. Luckily, I don't care about that today. I am missing the top line there. That is annoying. But I regret everything. If I go full screen with that, yeah, that's not going to work. Okay. We're just going to leave it like that so I can actually see the full screen. Funny enough, I think that is half my window. Yeah, sort of. There's no reason why I can't just enlarge that. So I'll go with that. See if I can get used to this keyboard. What are we doing today? Got a couple of things to implement. A lot of compat hacks I have to remove. But we are not on 3.9 yet. So, we've got branding, we can do documentation. Where are we at the moment? Doesn't look too bad. And you know what? I'm actually going to open a second window and put chat on my second screen. So if I go 10.0.0.115 -- screen -r-x T for SSH. There we go. Now that can be any size I want it to be. Bam. It looks like I stuffed up my notifications. Not inaccurate. Well, you can't win them all. God, I'm still not used to this keyboard. Go live notification. Well, I can delete that, but building a game server in Python for an MMO. Living in the database indeed. God, it's been a long time since I've done this. And now I'm going to hit my worst enemy, which is actually programming in front of a computer rather than just laying out on the couch, which I actually find really, really difficult, would you believe. The couch is really the only place I can program effectively. So that's in the same directory. And we need to be in the serve directory. I really should have this all sorted. Why is 2 a loading? Oh, you know what? It's going to be really, really weird with all my highlighting and everything being subtly different to my other machine. It's kind of painful. Okay, PyTest. You know what? PyTest. I do want to see what tests are currently failing. Everything. Absolutely everything. Why is that failing though? Server state and port running task. In logging. Cannot import log. So I did introduce a circular dependency there. That's very, very annoying. I don't know how to fix it this time, but we can worry about that later. For the moment, we are working on MDNS. So actually, I'm going to need another window open. And while we're at it, let's bring up the browser. Epic.tcp. Now, if I just do www, EpicMan.test, okay. I needed something very, very specific, and that was the MDNS tests. Interesting. Now, because my machine got killed earlier, I've got no bash history for that, so we'll go back to V. And let's see if I can remember the path. We're not doing core allocations, I don't care about the dictionary. Server, MDNS, nano cd DNS, nano MDNS. Yes, because as I said, my machine died, so that PID flag is useless. Pipe read, and we'll start with entry. So why was that working before? Tox. Was I using one of my special virtual environments? Maybe I was. Let's try pi.tox. Pi37, otherwise I'll just do an install. It's not too bad. No module. That's actually kind of painful. Well, for one, we can bin. Why did that highlight? 9. Why did that highlight? Oh, one day I will get better at the streaming thing. Epic Server. EpicMan Server, MD. Ah, you know what? I'm an idiot. There we go. So I actually want to do a couple of things here. Let's do an all browse first. So I've got some machines on the network, that's good. Service type we want to resolve, we want machine readable, we want to not do a DB lookup, and we want to not fail, and we are looking for, pretty sure it was, yeah, it's underscore TCP. TCP. And while we're at it, well, I'm still getting used to this keyboard and the fact that it's frigging freezing at the moment. Publish service -h. Yep. Epic server. Type is epic.tcp 80. 80. Now, I have seen weird stuff like this before. So let's do another thing. Grep. I want to actually confirm that my application did launch. So I've got two announcements there. We've got the one I specified and the one launched by my program, and you can see the cluster ID here and here. So cluster name and server ID, because what will happen with this is I actually should get multiple entries here. So maybe if I swap this over to -A, there we go, we see it now. Workstation, oh, they're the workstation announcements though. Interesting, interesting. So maybe I've got some security set up, which would be like me. Ethernet 0. Somebody record that. So they can hear my password being typed out. My hands are just too cold for this today. Okay, etc interfaces, IPv6, bam bam, publish, reflector, that should be listing on all interfaces, including Ethernet 0. Browse. Kodachi 3.10.19 free desktop with the deduplication cookie, which is what I'm doing with my cluster ID. Is there, no, that's domains. Although this is a good opportunity. I did notice a bug the other day. Browse domains. Do I have the modem domain? No, I don't. Now that's interesting. So if I'm on the other side, on the other Wi-Fi network, I see an additional browse domain, which I don't down here. So I've got a bug I need to go fix. Okay, it's all working properly. Am I doing a publish there? No. When you don't have the bash history, it's actually really, really hard to build up your dev environment again. I rely too much of it on just being in the local history. Browse all. Now this should... I'm just going to restart it. Actually, general control unit. If I can spell daemon correctly. Actually, no, let's go back to journal. Note to self, make sure I scrub my bash history. Yes. Daemon, what do we have here? Date, 1842, 1842, 1842, perfect, so I'm at the end. Register new address. Registering name has conflict. It's conflicting with it. Yeah, okay, I'm going to restart it. This does not bode well. Journal control. Maybe I shouldn't be using this as discovery. When it works, this stuff is really, really nice, but I'm having so many issues with it. Okay, follow. Bring that back up. EpicMan. Okay, so we can see it here now. Cluster's being announced correctly. So discovery event, update with metadata after being resolved for both IPv6 and IPv4. Now if you have a look here, we've got the IPv6 address with a link local and port 8080. And we've got the IPv4 equivalent. So the best way to dedupe those is to have an explicit ID, which is what they're doing for the host here with the overhead cookie. Because as you can see, there's multiple IPv6 addresses on this machine. And with my network and the repeaters I've got for MDNS, the route that takes can come in via multiple different routes. And while you could dedupe by name, and you could dedupe by service and IP address and port, there is actually an issue if you've got badly configured hosts on the network, because most people do not set their host name correctly. So get host by name may return a fully qualified domain name, or a fully qualified domain, or get FQDN may return short host name, and so I have to explicitly dedupe by a value I pass in. And that means if multiple of the same announcement with, like, say, different IP addresses, well, it means I can actually confirm that this and this are actually the same thing. So there's that. It's actually it's nice being able to point and click. I mean, I can do it with screen as well. But having the mouse is, we'll see how that goes. It makes a copy and paste a bit weird. So we'll kill that off for now. And if we're lucky, that's interesting. We didn't capture any outputs. So the problem I'm finding is that this is it's not consistent. Sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. So line 179 here, and then I've got another selection. So we've got three selections here. We've got via mouse, we've got via screen, and I've also got line selection in my text editor. And I will probably use all three concurrently because I'm weird like that. And it proves very, very helpful. It's like having three separate cut buffers. And I'm not kidding when I'm saying it's freezing here. It's probably 10 degrees inside at the moment. I just had the heater on for 2 hours. So this house is really, really poorly designed for that, in that it's a split level. And so all the heat goes to the other end of the house, and down here ends up just getting colder and colder and colder. So this is not going to be a long session. I just wanted to test that everything worked. I do have a chat in stream. Awesome. No one's talking, but that's fine. Okay, so we need to work out why this is not working. We're just going to do some stupid testing here, I think. I'll get something working, and then I'll start and stop and work on something else, and then come back to it, and it's broken again. So I highly suspect I've got a timing issue in the code, which is going to be stupidly difficult to diagnose. I should be really looking at the camera, shouldn't I? Task send. Browse view. Now why am I sending it? I'm sending it to browse view because I can't send it to browse. I have to use task send to call it directly. I can't call it. So this module really needs a bit of cleanup. There's code all over the place. I can actually delete this line now. No zero conf error. I'm just going to quickly check why I raised that, because I want to clean up as much code as I can at the moment. Okay, so I replaced that with line 146, so I can get rid of these exceptions at the moment. The idea was that if the commands are not on the system, then it would raise a nice exception, but how the exceptions go between tasks at the moment is a bit undefined, so I'm not going to be able to do that. In fact, if we go back to my to-do list, because I should do that anyway. I hate when it does that. I just wish that one completion would not happen. So once I've got MDNS working, I need to get inter-process communications working, which will go via our send, which will be in our main loop, which at the moment, I'm not going to believe this. This used to be like a 100-line file. It's now like 450 lines. And at least 100 lines of that's just the startup and command line passing code, which is this part here, the main function. But when we're sending to offbox, we will actually be intercepting here. So task send. And we will be looking to see if that task is running locally. And if it is running locally, send a message to it. If it's not, we start the task up. But we'll be splitting this so that instead of starting the task up, we'll only start the task up if this process is responsible for that task. And we can't get to that point until we've got a DHT, or distributed hash ring or table, because we need to work out where on the ring we lie and what addresses we're responsible for. So I'm not currently doing any hashing of the addresses, but at the moment, and we can actually see this here, if I start the process back up. So you see like entry 0, that is an address. That is the entry function, and address or ID 0. And we can actually, if we scroll down here, see that we call this, so the entry function, and for anything specified on the command line, as you can see, I should really be using mouse for this, here, for the boot up code we just make the identity of that 0. I'll be fixing that up later. It was just really, really convenient during testing to know what the addresses are, because threads themselves couldn't determine what their own address was. So it meant like saying, send the message back to me, very, very difficult. So I just had it all hard-coded. There's definitely nothing wrong with 0, especially for startup code, because you shouldn't have multiple instances of your startup code, but I may have cheated on certain aspects there. So I've got pipe end read. We know this works, and I did find some weird behavior, so I need to write some comments about this before I forget. So if you have a new pipe and nothing is connected to the other side, or nothing is written to the other side, if nothing is connected or has not written data, then calling select on it will cause a read event always, regardless of if there is data to be read or not, which was really, really, really painful to diagnose. Because the process was taking just long enough to start up that it was causing absolute havoc. And I think I might have found a bug where in certain instances, rather than getting an empty string back, you just get none. But more importantly, if you know anything about reading a file, if you do a read of a file and you get back this, then that normally means the file is finished or done, so it's end of file. So I had code that said while input is not equal to this, do something. So because the application was taking so long, it was just exiting him almost immediately. So I decided to put a pause in there, and then I actually had a look at the code itself. Right, just ignore that. I may have been doing some work. And that, and that, and that, and that, and that. And that's some entertainment. So if you do import subprocess, there we go, and do a subprocess.popen. What we were showing that pipes are annoying. So I actually want to bring time.sleep delay So that's not what I'm looking for. Basically what happens is if you do like a poll for the return code, or even on startup, this actually blocks for like 0.2 seconds. So I can't remember if it's 50 or 200 milliseconds in case the program exits immediately, and then I was doing another 200 millisecond wait on top of that. So it's adding this like 400 millisecond pause. The big problem is it does a sleep. Yeah, time.sleep delay, which is annoying because that's a blocking syscall. So that means my application can do nothing while the program's starting up. So I'm actually going to have to go off and re-implement this entire module so it doesn't block in that way. And that's some really non-trivial code there. So at least if I drop Windows support and limit it, it should be a bit easier than that. But I'm not looking forward to that day. And that's likely very, very soon. For the moment though, it's only limited this application, so everything's good. I won't have to worry about it too much. And as you can see, like I've actually implemented a mock file thing here that's all asynchronous, so I had to re-implement a couple of things. Read line. And this code's actually broken. This code actually contains a pretty bad bug. Read does not read from or update buffer while a iter does. So if you mix for line in file with file.read, you will actually get incorrect output. Crap. But we can worry about that another time. So setting on blocking, I want to move some of those file functions out. In fact, maybe we do that now. And in fact, this is probably a good opportunity to make helpers copy DNS mdns.py to helpers as file.py, and then file. There we go. So what are we leaving in here? We're going to strip out the MDNS code. And we're just going to leave all the file stuff here. And we're going to make sure those abstractions are rock solid. Because as I said earlier, I think I've got a timing bug here, and I think I've got a leaky abstraction somewhere. So we might even write a test suite while I'm at it. We can put the non-blocking code to the end because I want my functions at the end there. We specified Python 3, that's good. We've got pipe read, we've got parse line, decode host name. Now these are all things for passing the output of that. So we can delete them. Error. Do I want that? No, that is a generic function that should go in utils. This is all stuff related to... I do need page size because the default read size is one single page. Now that's 4K or 4 kilobytes across most architectures, but you get the occasional odd architecture where that may be different. In truth, it doesn't really matter, but it's a nice, easy default to get out of the system. So, get rid of encoding, possibly. Command wrapper. We're going to keep command wrapper because it is related to files, or is it? It's related to subprocesses. Yeah, it's related to subprocesses. We're going to, it's not the best fit to go here, but we're going to leave it here. So get PID, functools, wraps. We don't need FQDN. I don't think we're using enum. No, we're not. Am I using UID? No, not here. Not passing anything, so I'm not using IP address. I'm not using entities or proxies. I am using syscalls. So that stays. Am I using log? Yes, I am, because I'm logging in the command wrapper. So that's staying here. And I'm going to order this to make that a bit better. union. Named. Can kill that off. Now, do I have a timeout expired here? I mean, normally I'd actually have something checking all my imports for me automatically. But we don't. Because I haven't wired that up yet. And I haven't worked out how I want to approach that. There's a couple of ways. You can do it via your linter. The type checking system also does unused imports. And then there is code formatting tools such as Black. So I'll be implementing Black and code formatting at some point in the near future. Not in this release, but probably the first thing I do post-release. I don't want to let it go for too long because otherwise when I do run Black on my code and it reformats everything, it may have a drastic effect on how the output looks like. So I want to try and minimize that by having as little code as possible for it to operate on. Temporary directory, wraps, encoding. Okay, cool. Let's swap these around because I've got a preference for large to small in my ordering. And in fact, that subprocess thing is annoying me. So I can move that down. There we go. Pipe read. So I'm going to go back to our original code. Add some more stuff. We're going to have to re-import everything we just are about to take out. So we're in the DNS directory. We go up a directory. So we're now in the server directory. And we import helpers. .file import. Let's have a look at our classes. Okay, so pipe and lowercase, uppercase, pipe read end. Now I only implemented read support. I didn't bother implementing write support because I'm not going to use it. But I could have just made this like a pipe end if I wanted to that supported read and write. I really couldn't be bothered. Do I need set non-blocking? No, that's a local function, and we need command wrapper. So if I missed a comma there, that's a comma mistake. Wrap, and we can take that out, and we can take pipe and pipe read and I'm sure the magic is scaring a lot of people at the moment, but actually while I'm at it, that's weird. Why is that showing up as having updates? Entry. And now we have to pull these out, so we are using those to, I don't think we're using timeout expired. No, so I can pull that, I can pull temporary directory, we're not using async manager here, we're not using these. Well, we're not using it once I delete those. We're using wraps, I'm pretty sure we're using wraps in here. We shouldn't be, but we are. Okay. So we'll leave that. I didn't think we were using getFQDN. I'm really going to have to go through and fix up my imports across the entire system. I've got a whole lot just floating around that don't need to be there. And we should be using named toop. Yep, and we're probably using a union because I do one with the IP. Yeah, I do it with the IP addresses because there's no. So the IP address module, there's no concept of an IP address. It's either v4 or v6, which I can kind of understand, but for typing reasons, I need both. So. Done, done. Okay, so let's do a sanity check. DNS.helper. Okay, I screwed up. It's ... for parent directory. Epic server helper. You know why? Well, that's one of them. Helpers, but I think I need to create a special file as well. Oh no, but I'm going to anyway. Touch helpers. Now with Python 3 development, you actually don't need those files. It's only really Python 2 and early versions of Python 3, so Python 3.6 and earlier from memory. But you'll find if you do omit it, you're going to have tooling randomly break. So best not to poke that. Now I should be getting output, and I should be getting output that's very, very similar to that here. So we're going to do a couple of things. We're going to disable some code here. Let's disable discovery. And if we go... Okay, so our announcements are working. That's good. That's really, really good. I've got a feeling that has never... I was going to say that's never been broken. I think I fixed that in full yesterday. Okay, so we're going to not do the announcements and see if everything works, because that would kind of indicate to me I may have blocking behaviors somewhere. Now that's interesting. Browse view created MDNS. No, we did get that here. Okay, so I may have to publish a value. And we do get it. Okay, so we can have one or the other, but not both. What do you want to bet that my read may be blocking? How do I tell if my read is blocking? That's a good question. I have a hack for that. Now, I don't normally like having sleeping codes because it can lead to some really, really bad patterns, especially in this game. Pinger. While true, sleep, await, task, sleep. Do it every 2 seconds. Print, slept. And then, because I know what I'm doing and I'm not a crazy person, I swear, we also launch a pinger. Cool. Now, does that behavior hold true if we re-enable publishing? Ta-da! Something is screwed up here. Something is really badly screwed up here. And I actually wonder if I change... There's a couple of things it could be. You know what? I bet I don't have concurrency implemented correctly. There's a fundamental issue. So if you've got an object, methods on that object should be able to run concurrently. So even though I do a task send here, it's actually, there's just a level of indirection there which goes like that. But they're all on the same object, the MDNS of that ID, browse and publish. I have a feeling that my code instantiates an MDNS object and can't call publish or browse. It can only call one or the other. So what's likely happening is I am browsing. No, I'm publishing and then the messages are going to browse, or vice versa, or some weird combination like that. Well, the good news is my MDNS code likely works. So what we're going to do now is refactor and package this up. I'm not going to say I'm going to make it production ready. I'm just going to make the code a bit cleaner and a bit easier to work with. because once I've got that packaged up, that's a fairly major chunk piece of work. In fact, before I do that, I better add the files I moved around because I've made a couple of commits. I wonder if I can bring them up. I've got some commits here where I've, like I said, added feature and then missed like half the files that make that feature work. So if we go helpers, CV, done. Oh, whatever, add helpers. HE status. So there's a couple of things that are concerning. Syscalls I need to verify by hand, and I need to verify that. Well, actually, let's have a look at the full diff at the moment. What work have I done? A remote function, added a to-do item, added an import, commented out and added multi-connect, which is work for later, maybe even tonight, honestly. We added 2 new syscalls, file read and write, which are not to support reading and writing a file, but to support reading and writing a file-like object, which is a pipe. Because if you do a file, if you register like select or epoll against a file, read is always true. Even if the call will block, it will always say, hey, look, you can actually read from this file. It's totally safe. It's only sockets and pipes where that behavior differs, and as we found out, pipes with nothing connected at the other end behave the same as a normal file, which is painful. MDNS notes, and then we added MDNS, and we added to the syscalls the relevant syscalls, and we made them importable automatically. Okay, htcommit. Feature add MDNS browsing. Do I put a pending something? Pending stupidity. Pending additional testing. I actually need to unit test that entire file, but I just want to move beyond the MDNS code for the moment. I was almost getting to the point where I was going to just pull it out, and I'm still very, very tempted to. But now that I know that it generally works, I can deal with that later. In fact, do I want to implement some tests? No, let's have a look at PyTest first. So, PyTest, where are you? I should just be able to do PyTest, I think. Yeah, I've got that circuit. I do need to fix that. Because I do need my test suite working. So let's get on that immediately then. How am I going to resolve that? So the problem is that, as you can see, I try and load this module, which try and loads server.state, which ends up loading that. Now, if you have a look at the server.state code, you will wonder why. Just need to check that. Cluster name, browse, task send. You know what? I'm going to fix that up. I feel really, really stupid now. Pinger. I shouldn't have introduced that. Browse. And I need to remove pinger. Bug. Move test. Code. Flatpak. I don't know what the bash history does sometimes, but sometimes it's just super painful. Cool, done. Okay. Now there's actually one other thing I want to do, which is PSAU. Oops. just going to have to type everything out, I think. Over here. Oh wow, it's 17:30. That's fine for the moment. In terms of a test stream, I think this works. Don't know about the volumes. They look good at my end, but you never know. So we're definitely going to get that bug fixed. I fixed that code. I need to get that code fixed. So as I was saying, if you have a look at the state, state, and we'll go back to the traceback. So we import logging, the state directory gets brought in, and then we go back to it tries to import logging again. So if you go here, you can see that we're not importing logging here. So like, what's going on here? Turns out that that is doing two imports. So it's importing .server and then .server.state. So it's actually pulling in this file. And here we do log. So you see we've got logging all over the place, and top line import logging. So this traceback is really, really, really misleading. Or actually, no, it tells you right there. I still find this output really, really bad sometimes. And it gets even worse with asynchronous code. It becomes particularly painful. So the reason being is a traceback can now be distributed over two separate tasks. And the thing that, it's very hard to link those two tracebacks. I may look at doing it at a different date, but say one task raises a traceback, the error itself gets propagated, the stack trace does not. And so you get this stack trace that comes from my main loop saying, hey, you've got an issue, and you can't tell why that issue occurred or where that issue occurred. You just have to know what your program is calling at the time and sort of guess, which considering everything is simple so far, has been totally fine for me. But I have also been losing my hair, as you can see, and there's a reason for that. Mainly it's trying to debug asynchronous code. Friends don't let friends do async, so hopefully once this is done, no one will actually have to touch async, which would be really, really nice. Like, this should abstract most of it, so you'd never have to touch async again. In fact, I wonder what happens if I do a make docs at the moment, so I'm just going to check some of my messages while I'm at it. I still don't know. Why is it? Oh, you know why? That's highlighted. Because I made it part. Okay, so I'm just going to quickly fix something off stream. Oh, please don't tell me I'm going to have to type. Yeah, I'm going to have to type it out manually. There's a particularly annoying issue with usernames when connecting to Twitch, which always annoys me. I can't even remember what my room is. Splitsworks. Yes, okay, that's better. Wondered what was going on there. And I need to move that tab while I'm at it. So move tab 11 to 2. Cool, and I need to bookmark auto join this. Before I forget. I redid all my bookmarks and I'm now regretting it. Bookmark saved. Okay. And for those who are interested in what I was doing, it was all there. So, in fact, did they cut off output? That kind of looks like it cut off some output. Oh no, I've got to resize the terminal. Can do that now. Do I do it now? Really don't want to. I can do it here, I think. Can I? That's really, really, why is that not? If I swap that. Oh wow, it actually swapped to the wrong one. Why do you do this to me? Actually, I need to be here so I can tell which window this is. Bash on, no. Okay. No, that's also wrong. What am I doing? Oh, they've got the same name. No, they don't. For those who don't know, GNOME Terminal is very, very strange. Especially comes to window capture. So I can just swap them around, I think. No, screen, there we go. No, that's full size now. Okay, back to our original topic. How do we fix logging? I don't think we can, in all honesty. That's going to introduce a circular dependency. This, how does this get fixed? I have to import logging in the main loop because I have to log. Logging has to import state because it does. I could move state up a directory. Wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. In fact, I wonder where I use context var. Dash R, and we'll add a dash I context. Whoa. You know what? I need to be in EpicMan. Cool. So I only do it in server state. Running task is running task. Honestly, there's no reason why I couldn't just push that out to the logging module. So let's quickly now, I think I know why this window is so wide. I think I've got the browser open on my other machine. So context vars, bum bum bum. I think I can just put the context vars in two places and be done with it. So I might just take that code there and server state. Why did I push it? It's in server state, isn't it? No, thank you for warning me about that. Task state. See, what we can do here is, oh no, I'm gonna have to pull all that code in, aren't I? That's fine, we'll do that. Import logging. No, actually, maybe I can get really tricky. Okay, so if we go down directory, Oh god, I hate it when I do that. You would not believe how often that happens. If we go here, and we go back here, and we pull... No. Do it from the right hand side. Bingo. If I'm lucky, and I comment that out, I think that state just gets shared between everything. So let's give that a go. PyTest. Yes, it does. Okay, bam. So I've got some additional failures. Specifically around logging. But that's fine because I changed the logging output, so I actually need to update the test. And it is actually passing that through. Okay, so that is why you want to use a context vars module. It all makes sense now. So I need to refactor that. So that means you can have a single name in multiple modules that under the hood will reference the same value, and you only update it in the one place, which is local to your code, and all your other modules get uploaded, and you avoid the loop. Okay. Really, 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 really nice. Really, really hard to understand. But I can work with that. So if we're here, what's the best way to do this? I'm going to just cat state into there, hdrm state. And there's always a pause there because the IO on this machine is really, really horrible. We'll go to the bottom and we'll salvage that code. One. Whoa, thank you, GNOME, for doing unexpected things. Control Shift? Yeah, Control Shift. Oh, that's annoying, I use that key all the time. This is why I normally don't develop from this machine, because the GNOME terminal can be a real pain. Okay, uncut. Traceback format, I'm using that, and we'll pull that into here, around there, which that lines up nicely with context lib. There we go. Running task. Okay, state. Let's see if that works, and then we'll update the test. Oh, I've got the new utils as well. Okay. Foreground one. Utils. I really need to disable a couple of things, I think. Caps lock sucks. That's going to give me a lot more than I want. Utils. So why did that fail? No module. Game state. Okay. I actually need to get rid of this module. And as you can see, I've got a socket helper here, and I've created a directory called socket, so maybe more refactoring. We'll see. I'll just borrow that. Bit suspicious that worked. I know why. Too many cut buffers. Done. Timeout good, because these are bugs. Yes, so bugs failed. That's excellent. Exactly the behavior I want to see. What do we have on our table? So let's review our changes. And I'm going to go full text editor mode here. And I can also review the changes here. I've got a diff color filter for my text editor. Alright, cool. Bug. Remove circular import due to running task. Use context was properly as a name refers to same value even in definitions in separate modules, which will make sense to me and no one else. Circular, ignore, separate, exit. And I'm going to put an underscore here. And re-justify that. Good. Done. Perfect. I miss a spell when I don't have access to it. The dictionary on this machine is so well tuned. And though I do make a lot of typos and things in chat, that's because I don't have access to spell checking a line. If I did, things would be a whole lot different, I can assure you. In fact, I think I had tab complete at one point in there. So if we go to window 9 and we go context, nope, okay. Wait a minute, I realise I have a whole lot of bash history there. Sorry, chat history. Huh, interesting. Times are fun. Unknown. Oh, that's a print screen button. Huh. Actually, does that show up on stream? Probably not, but it does make my face flash. Actually, status. Okay, we're good. We're good here. We need to update the test suite, so let's go down there. Tests, it's unit tests. No, test logging. Parameterize, blah, 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 message, my message. These should all be at the system. Let's run our test suite. Nope, failed. Okay. System is not equal to system. Right. Logged is system. Plus, and I think I've got a space in there. Actually, you know what? I should make my tests a bit more robust here. Logging, I've got system ID, default, blah, task. Probably don't need to worry about that too much, but okay, fingers crossed. In for a win. No, failed. Okay. System is equal to my message. You know why? Because logged and message yeah, I screwed up. logged, because of course the logged has the default task already added to it, so I have to add it to the one that doesn't have, I have to compare it to the one that doesn't have it added. And you know what? I'm going to do that. And that should also be equivalent. Oh, no, it still failed. Grep wrap line. There's a way to line wrap this stuff. I can't remember what it is. We'll just do it the old way. Logging, log. Do we have an output? Oh, what's box do? Compatibility. I actually tried enabling using all the cores on the machine for logging everything, but it's actually slower. So the initial setup costs for doing it are pretty expensive. Clear cache. Is it full? Full trace. Oh, actually, why am I even bothering with that? I can look at the stack trace here. Okay, so the issue here is I've just stupidly put a space on the end. Okay. Done. Fingers crossed. And we're good. What do we update? Diff. Update tests for logging module to reflect new running task. Cool. Now it's 7:30, so I'm going to stop here. This was a test stream. These are tiring, but I did have some stuff happen today. I plan to do this on a more regular basis, so tell me if you like it, tell me if you don't. Regardless, I'm going to keep on doing it. And I'll see you all some other time. See you later.